Welcome and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Joey Wabbs, and this is my co host, Mr. Link. And we are doing our weekly show of Wabbs Link. Last week we did a FIFA a run because it was international break. And
Indeed.
big up to Solomon for the super chat. I appreciate you, bro. I really do appreciate you. Now,
Yes,
reason
congrats.
reason for today is whole conversation for today is going to be on our games from last week. Obviously, Link still has to he has to relive North Forest one more time, and then we're gonna go over how we did against Bournemouth because they also I'm pretty sure you guys have Bournemouth this week.
I think so.
Uh, and then Lake is going to talk about the UCL tie and how they did in the UCL tie. And then we'll talk about our games next week. We do have a show Thursday with Mike's for a West Ham versus Chelsea preview. So make sure that you stay tuned in for that as well. Now, Link, my guy, and I
Talk
do
to me. Talk
apologize.
to me.
I do apologize for not having these streams more often, guys. Like I've been doing some self love. You know what I'm saying? Like I needed to take care of myself for a bit. So I've been doing them just a little bit more infrequently, but now they're gonna be ramping back up, and I'm gonna get back into the swing of things, and we're gonna be doing more weekly shows and so on and so forth. Now, Link, my
Talk to
guy,
me. Talk to me.
do you want me to go first or do you want to talk about Forrest and get it out of your way, man?
I want to get it out of the way. I want to
All
get it
right,
out of the way.
go ahead and tell me what happened in Forrest because I do have some opinions on it as well. And you know my opinions, honestly.
It,
We talked,
y-
so
yes, yes. Everyone loves context. Let me paint the scene with context. We had
sure.
15 players out and about playing in various games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know when the last international friendlies were. So we have these pointless games going on. All of our players play and they're important, yada, yada, yada. They play, they don't want to miss games. They come back and they start for a set Forest, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Slot comes out and says, well, we're not going to blame international break, but we look like shit. It really all boils down to this was our first time playing against a real low block,
Yeah,
and
yeah, really,
yeah,
like an actual low block for
an
sure.
actual real low block. And I think Forrest had a full week of game planning, and they executed their game plan to a T.
Well, a
Um,
full 2 weeks, pretty
yeah,
much
2 weeks, yeah,
game
exactly,
plans.
because they don't have those players out on
They
international
didn't
break,
really have too many. I don't think they had like I think they had maybe one or two.
if that, if that. So
Yeah,
exactly. So you think a lack of game planning, and these are all excuses in the right eyes to certain people, but a lack
sure.
of game planning, execution by Forrest. Um, this is the inexperience in slot system. We still have to learn how to break down low blocks. It was an obstacle under Klopp and Pep Linder's guidance. It's still an obstacle now, and instead of us just trying to do brute force to get through, we're trying to learn how to play through. So um, it's not ideal to lose this early as far as getting as many points as you want, but it's something that almost needed to happen sooner rather than later to so-called test the mettle of our club. So yeah, yeah. But that's just more of the overview. If you want to like break it down, we have a lot of individual player performances that need to be
Yeah, give
discussed.
me before we do that. There is a that whenever this person comes into my chat, he always gets a welcome. So this is just how it works. I do want you to get into some player performances because that's what I'm specifically going to talk about.
Okay.
Because I like necessarily pretty much agree with everything that you said, like overall. So like I don't really have anything like to like dissuade off of it. Nothing to like really argue on it. Because I really do think it was more Forest set up to Liverpool's demise, more or less, is my opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do wonder if more teams will do certain things. But before I get into that, let's just shoot a welcome video to everybody, and especially Prime. welcome.
Big
All
up,
right,
Prime.
what I really wanted to speak on, I'm gonna speak on like the players that like I want to speak on. I'm also gonna caveat this with Mo Salah had an absolute stinker of a game. Okay, like I'm not gonna speak too much on Mo Salah because he has too much credit in the bank for me to really like do anything about it or say anything about it. And not for nothing, I have a soft spot for Mo Salah as an Arab, like so it's like a little bit different for me. So it's like I don't necessarily hate Mo Salah. I just hate when he scores on us. Like that's just it. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right. So like I don't really like, to me, like that's just how I like approach Mo Salah and like what I think about Mo Salah. First and foremost, what I have to say on this game is Cho. Good job, my man. You're starting to finally get to that potential that we saw all those years ago back in the Sarri era. So I'm very happy that you're in a team that's giving you the love that you need and giving you the amount of game time that you need, and the pressure that you played on under Chelsea was probably too much for you. So this forced move is probably great for you. I'll never say I want you back, but congratulations on what you're doing right now. Okay, that's first and foremost.
Thanks for putting that little part back. I don't want you back.
I had to bring it back down a step, but I do appreciate what you're doing and how you're playing. It's something to behold. I really like to see some of our ex-players being successful in the teams that they move to. Like, to me, that's really, I appreciate that more than most. Like, I appreciated that Conor Gallagher got a goal this week. I can appreciate that, but I don't want him back. I don't want him anywhere near my club. Congratulations. DePaul put in a ball through somebody's legs, and you were open on goal. Good job. Congratulations for scoring. Like,
proper
let's
Chelsea.
move on.
Proper.
Right? Sure. That's what you want to call it. Maybe that's what you want to call it, my guy. So the one player that I have been very vocal about throughout this entire time speaking about this system is Szoboszlai. I told you from the beginning. I said from the beginning, this team's engine runs off of how well Szoboszlai plays in the final third.
Correct.
It is as blatant as it gets. When it's Szoboszlai and Szoboszlai has the opportunity to show you who he is, he can show you fantastically who he is. Okay? Fantastically. Okay? And I've seen that. I watched a lot of Leipzig. I'm one of the biggest Christopher Nkunku fans, and I'm going to talk my shit a little bit later on that. But
that Leipzig team is nice. I like that.
Yeah,
Leipzig
bro.
team.
And I watched so many of those games, man. And like, I knew Dominic Szoboszlai could be a good player for somebody in the Premier League. He had the physical attributes to be able to do it. And in the final third, he's extremely hot for a lot of games, and he can go extremely cold for a lot of games. And it's not necessarily a lot of games. It's normally like one or two, and he snaps back into his creating and his technical ability. But it's like I watched. I'm telling you, my man, Link. I'm talking 3 years, close to 70 Leipzig games, I would say. Like, I really watched that team for a long time. Like, I watched them, but when they had Timo, that's how long ago I watched them. Like, I was watching them all the way back then. I watched, like, probably 15 to 20 games when they had Timo on the team.
Yeah.
So
I've always
to
been
me,
a fan of the Leipzig project.
Yeah, and to me, it's been an interesting project just to look over. And shit, if you ever have to play with the team on FIFA, they always have something good. You always got a good team that you can play with.
You got 3 or 4 82s.
Yeah, you got a decent team over there if you really have to really put it into consideration. Yeah. But like, go back to your game. In my opinion, is like can he bring the consistency that he needs? And will we see this again with a low block? Because what Nottingham Forest did is they had Yates chasing this guy all over the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
He had him check, and they didn't care where he went. They didn't care if he pulled him out of position. They man marked him all over the pitch. And the system is getting the two midfielders involved when it comes to Gravenberch and McAllister, and breaking the lines into Sabazlai or to the wings for you to be able to create. Now you're talking Salah, who didn't create nothing. Sabazlai, who didn't create nothing. The one time that Luis Diaz created something, he hit the post. Then you're kind of sitting like, all right, how many more chances are we really going to get then? From where? You
Correct.
take off McAllister, you put Trent in, thinking that we can make Trent a midfielder. And sure as shit, that whole mentality of what it is should just get thrown out the fucking window. Like that's just my personal opinion. But like we go and we watch Curtis Jones and I see why he's doing it. Like that's the problem there.
Exactly.
So like that's the problem in the end. I know he doesn't want to play Endo. It's very evident he doesn't want to play Endo. He wants nothing to do with the guy. So now you're left with putting Trent in. Connor Bradley's one of your better subs and better players that can come off the bench. So you'd rather try to keep Trent in the game because he's wherever you want to put him in the hierarchy, he's top three best player on your team. Like you're not haven't scored and you were going to take him off? Probably not.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So and then it ends up turning out no way am I bringing Endo on to try to win a game, and no way and Curtis Jones, man, like he don't look like the same guy that was under Klopp at this current moment, at least, because form can't change. Like it does put a load of the creation on those two players. Now, with the attacking options that you have, should it be that way? Probably not. And that's the only thing that I should say. Like with Gakpo specifically. But I don't know why you wouldn't try to bring on Chiesa for a few minutes instead of Nunez, but like Nunez in the low block just doesn't work at this current moment. He's not technical enough unless you're going to use him as an aerial threat to be something that's going to be a actual threat to a low block.
And
so it's like,
go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, I was going to say, I think that's kind of what the mindset was in the substitutions. I think they were wrong, but I do think that was the idea that he didn't want to take Trent off because, like you said, it was tied. We still needed a goal, and obviously the whole like media blowback and all that. So I think, well, let me finish this point. So he brought on Trent, and so he was thinking I can get Trent to get the ball and play Darwin in behind, and then I can have Gakpo help him out. And Gakpo's also tall. So we can beat them on that front and try to have a physical presence to get the ball up the field. Because we weren't doing anything against their low block. And anytime they got the ball, they would just hoof it long to Chris Wood. We would get the ball back and then have to start over. The point you made about it.
I mean, bro, Everton is going to be exactly like that. Brentford is going. I mean, you guys already played Brentford, so you'll be fine. But Brentford without Ivan Toney's probably not like that.
Right.
There's not many teams that you're going to have to deal with that, like Stoke City ball, I like to call it. You know what I'm saying?
You're right about that. And also, like, Chris Wood didn't do much as far as from a statistic standpoint, but he was enough of a nuisance to at least give them the option.
That's what Chris Wood does.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I think it was just the perfect storm of international break, playing a low block, and Slot not knowing his substitution rotation yet. I think he's still trying to figure that what his subs are going to be. And I feel like now that we're in week 5 post international break, he doesn't have the excuse of it being early in the season to not play players. So like the rotation is going to be a topic of discussion whether he wants to or not.
I'm gonna jump the gun with a player real quick because I do want to have a conversation around this player because normally this player is someone who's very reliable for you. Jota does not look like the same player that he was last few years at this current moment. I don't know if it's just the shooting boots or what it really is, but he's getting in the same kind of positions that he normally does to score. So like that's a good thing. But I think even today I saw a couple clips of him missing a couple chances today that he should have probably put away. Like, is there a concern there? Like,
No.
is there a concern with Jota? Do you think? Do you think that Jota is the? Do you think that like a Gakpo switch to striker is a? Because I always thought that Gakpo is better up top, but he might at Netherlands he doesn't look that way. In Netherlands he looks like he's a better winger than he is a striker, but it's more of like a left forward than a real winger per se.
Yeah. What do you want me to address? The Jota or the Gakpo part first?
Whatever you want.
Okay, so with Gakpo, the first thing is Gakpo doesn't have any type of separation and his acceleration off the ball. So he's going to constrict the field, which is kind of the opposite what we need from him if he is playing in that
Mhm.
striker position. I know Jota drops deep, but I feel like if Gakpo's there, he would clog up the midfield instead of creating openings for the wingers, which is what Jota does. On the other side, Jota is in the lineup and will stay in the lineup, I feel like, for the foreseeable future because his movement alone and his football IQ is helping the rest of the attack.
Mhm.
I'm the biggest Darwin fan, so I watch Jota with a lot of scrutiny. The reason Jota's on the field right now is his ability to connect right now, and that his movement is intelligent enough to get Szoboszlai, Diaz, and Salah room. Um, so no, he's not finishing, and I don't love it, but for my Darwin agenda, I'm like, hmm. Because if
That's
Darwin
fair.
went 1-5, the world would be
Yep.
burning, you know? But I do
I
understand
mean,
why
yeah,
Jota's
he's
still in the
one
lineup.
in five right now. Even with the Milan game, he's 1 in 5
He's
now.
1-5. This is our great clinical striker, best
Hmm.
pure finisher in the team, all the plaudits we give him while he's injured. But now that he's had his first consistent 5 running games, he's our starting striker right now. Everyone says he deserves to be starting. He's played 70 minutes a game. Why has he only got 1 goal in 5 games?
So he's just Nico Jackson.
Right now, until he starts scoring, he is Nico Jackson for our side. But that's fine with
Interesting.
me because that still provides a pathway for Darwin to get back into the starting lineup. And you made that point earlier where like the setup of our front line shouldn't be the way it is or something along those lines. It's because there's a place for Darwin and there's a place for Chiesa in this team.
Hmm.
That's why.
I
Like,
actually now after sitting there and watching your team, I do think that there is a spot for Chiesa there, like off the bench. In my opinion, you know how I feel about Darwin. I'm the exact opposite of you.
yeah,
But I think Gakpo in this system at striker would probably help Sabozlai with creation. That's my opinion on it. Is if you had Gakpo in this system, which I think he would be as good as of a creator as Jota, but the problem is you're not going to get that instinct in the box that Jota has. But if he's not providing those goals, it's in essence the same thing. Like you're really in essence bringing the same exact things together.
I
Now,
don't I don't agree with that point, but finish yours first.
no, go for it.
Just
I was gonna move
because
on. I was gonna move
uh,
on here in a second. So yeah.
Gakpo does his best work when he gets to pick the ball up from deep areas and drive. Like as our striker, he's not going to be driving. Like when Jota drives with the ball, he ends up laying it off to Salah or Szoboszlai. Almost
Hmm.
most cases. When Gakpo picks up that ball, he's looking for his shot, and that's the difference. And that's why Gakpo's better off the wing.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But
Um, so we're going to move on to the Chelsea and Bournemouth game. Um, really, really, what I'm going to be talking about is the we had a issue with midfielders in the game. early on. It looked like Viega. People were giving Viega a lot of props, and I love Viega, but that first half from Viega was really rough. Okay, like people don't want to really admit it, and I've kind of held this in because I don't really like arguing with people about it. But he had a really rough first half. He was too close to Caicedo most of the time. When the center backs were trying to exit the ball, Caicedo and him were in the same positions most of the time. And Enzo quickly fixed it. Like at halftime, like you could see that there was an adjustment made where Caicedo would move close further up the pitch. Viega would pick up the ball, and then everyone saw how good Viega was on the ball. Like that's when you got to see it, was when he was alone back there and he had Caicedo just a little bit further forward to him to get that ball, to get that progression, right? He'd make a quick turn. He would turn on his man. And like I said, on the ball, Viega actually is very technically capable. Like it's not like a situation where you're putting a center back there that doesn't feel comfortable in those areas. You can see he's spatially aware enough to be able to play the role, which is very good because he could play all three positions: the left back, the center back, and that DM. But you're gonna play him in DM.
Do that.
Yeah, and bro, not many players, period, can do that.
Yeah.
Just period. You know, I'm not putting that on Trent. Like, period. It's not something that you see very often. And he has the legs to be able to keep up in the midfield. It's not like he's getting overrun and he's physical enough to be able to play.
That's why I thought he was there in the first place, is the physicality.
But the problem is that he was playing too close to Caicedo in the first half, and the center backs when they were getting pressed, the exit ball was 2 men on 2 men in the middle, and you're too close. So you make that exit ball in, one of those guys is going to try to come and intercept it.
Right.
So then we started playing long, and we don't have anybody we could play long to. It's not like Nico Jackson, somebody you could play long to.
Yeah, correct.
Left at least Cole Palmer pretty much isolated when he picked up the ball on the outside, and he struggled to pick up the ball, and he struggled in the game overall. And same with Neto. Neto struggled to get on the ball, and this was all just. And I don't necessarily blame Enzo just because Enzo Maresca, because he had 2 midfielders that were out sick for that day with KDH, but eventually he found a system to actually get the ball progressing a lot more in that second half. And we're getting as soon as we got Sancho on the ball, started to get Sancho on the ball on that left-hand side, that boy is playing possessed right now, my man. He's playing possessed. You know what I mean by playing possessed? It means he's playing with vengeance. That's the type of thing that I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's just immaculate.
I was like, let's slow down, but I get what you're saying.
I'm not saying he was like this immaculate player, right?
Yeah.
But there's a vengeance that he's playing with. You can see it in the post-match interview. You can see that he wants to prove himself, right? He's getting the opportunity to do it, and he is showing that he has the capabilities of literally cooking anyone who's in front of him. Okay, and I don't think that there was one time where he got the ball taken from him. Not one time where if he didn't have an option, he would go backwards, but actually get the ball like taken off of him. Maybe one time when the fullback from the Mexican fullback Araujo came on. He got him, I think, one time on a one-on-one. But outside of that, that's what I want from my winger. I want you to run at that man that's in front of you. And I know that you're confident enough to be able to beat him either inside or outside, wherever you want to beat him, and put a ball in that's going to be dangerous. As soon as that happened and we brought Sancho in, that goal that Nkunku had, Nico Jackson had 3 balls that were exactly the same pass into Nico, and he couldn't do nothing with it. 3 times he got him the ball in that position. Jaden did through that half. They take Nico off. You bring in Nkunku on, and in 5 minutes, quick feet, goal. But that's what Nkunku can do. And
Yeah.
I've been saying this. If you think that if we're gonna play the way that we're playing right now, Nico Jackson is in essence, he's a false 9. Just like Nkunku, just like Felix. He's a false 9. If you're not gonna play him at false 9, he's an inside forward. Those are the 2 things that he's actually as a profile. He's not a real striker. He's a link-up man, and so is Nkunku. So if you're going to play one of the false 9s, play the false 9 who finishes at a rate that's twice as good as what we have at striker at this current moment. If we can't win aerial duels, Nkunku is the perfect play. Nkunku at a certain point was the best false 9 in the world. Period. He was at the fall of Firmino, at the fall of Messi. He scored 30 plus goals and had 30. He had 30 goals, 20 assists in a year. There at a certain point during the time, he was the best false 9.
Was this at PSG?
Nope. This was at Leipzig the year before we bought him.
See, I don't like you using false 9, but I get what you're saying because he was playing second striker in that 4-2-2-2. I get you. You're good.
But it wasn't necessarily he was the second striker, but it wasn't necessarily a 4-4-2. It was more of a 2-2-2-2. Yeah, but even then even then you had it where Szoboszlai would go into the half space.
Yeah, Forsberg or Szoboszlai would rotate, and who's tucking in. Yeah,
yep.
I got you.
And then you would have a guy tuck in, so it end up becoming the 3 and like going forward regardless. Yeah. So like for me, like I need just like Duran needs to start give him a start up at the striker position. I need Nkunku to get one of these starts soon. Okay, I need him to get one of these starts soon. Like, I truly believe, like the problem is with what you're asking for him to do is that you end up isolating him with the last few times you played him at striker, you played Enzo behind him. You didn't play anybody that could link up with the guy.
And that wants to be close enough to play with him.
If you play Felix next to him or you play Palmer next to him, they're going to want to connect with him.
Right.
That's the difference. Okay? And he can connect like Nico, just as good.
But he has a little bit more IQ and technical ability. But no, I was just trying to piggyback off that point where it's like there's a beauty in squad depth, and especially in your squad depth up top, where it's like, okay, you have all these different options and you can play all these different ways. It's like, well, being able to do that and what you're actually executing on the field are 2 different things. I think right now you're going to see like your players end up your starting 11, quote unquote, will settle itself out because some of your better players link up better with the players that aren't necessarily in. Like I can see Neto playing himself out of the starting lineup. Or that not even Neto playing himself out of the starting lineup, where the competition is between Neto and Madueke, regardless of what wing they're playing on, but just the style of play that they dictate. Like you won't play Neto and Madueke in the same lineup because there's not enough control offered. You need to have a Sancho or a Felix on the field with Palmer at all times. That's what you're cutting into. And then the same thing goes with Jackson and that striker thing, like you're saying. If he's out there just to link up, you might as well have the more technically sound and prolific player out on the field. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I agree. It's like I don't think it's a must start JK, right? I think that he needs to start getting some of these starts. Okay? It doesn't have to be he has to start this game and he has to start every single game. I need it to be Jackson hasn't scored for 60 minutes, and Cuckoo comes in and scores and shows a good performance. Let's give in Cuckoo the start. It's our competition.
Yeah, and real
One
competition,
guy
not just
comes
competition
in.
for the sake of it.
You know what I'm saying? One guy comes in and scores. Then Jackson comes in off the bench. What's the problem? And if it doesn't work, you bring Jackson off the bench and he does his thing. But I need to see more of this guy because his technical abilities and his finishing abilities are too good to just leave him over there. You know what I'm saying? They're too good.
I agree, and that's
And
if
even
I'm
in the games that Jackson has been good in, right? And even in the games that Jackson has been good in, all right? What? He linked up for one and scored, but he's missed chance after chance after chance. Against Palace, what did he do? What against Bournemouth, what did he do? And I'm supposed to say, why not give Nkunku a chance after scoring a goal? What is that about? What were you gonna say, bro?
um just a negative viewpoint on it. It's just like that's the other side of the squad depth is you're always going to have someone that has an argument for being in the lineup. So it'll be interesting to see how Enzo deals with it because I I highly doubt he had this issue of quality um, for his
Oh
squad
no,
depth when he was at
no way.
Leicester.
Yeah, that. Yeah,
You know, like these are real
yeah.
tough decisions that he has to make.
I mean, but he just like demeanor wise of what Enzo is. I don't think that part of it's too much of a problem. I don't think he cares. I just think whoever's training and whoever's playing better at the time is gonna play.
Fair enough.
So, like that's what it comes down to. So if it's Nico that's training better and playing better, then Nico should play. That's
I have
what
a
I think.
question.
But if
So,
Nkuku's training better and playing better, then Nkuku should play. That's what it
so
comes out.
I don't think this will ever happen, but is there a world where Palmer gets dropped if he has a bad enough run at games? Or is Palmer untouchable in your lineup? Just a question.
I would like to say he's undroppable. Okay. That's just
Just
from like
just
an
curious. Yeah.
outside looking in perspective. I would like to say he's undroppable.
I don't think he'll ever
Um,
be the worst attacker on your field performance wise. So it's not
right.
going to happen, but
But also, it's like, I don't think also Palmer is the type of player that has too many bad games in a row either.
exactly.
That's the other thing is like, I haven't seen him go, like, I would say the Bournemouth game is probably like one of his lower performing games that he had in his last game, and I don't see I don't see him getting dropped, especially even if he has a bad performance against West Ham.
Right.
I would like to see personally in this, and let me actually before I get into next game, let's get into what you thought of the performance against Milan, and then we can get into Bournemouth versus you guys are against Bournemouth, we're against West Ham.
You see me perking up because we're in Europe and so we're big dogs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. That's what we do in Europe, you know? First night back in the champs, I was so depressed last year. Oh my God. So depressed. I have a little thing, I call it Thursday, Sunday flow, you know. Awful. Hate it. So glad to be back. Missed the first half. Came back to swirl of notifications, eyes. Ooh, what happened? I'm like, what is going on? Um, I'm just glad we won. But just talking to what I said earlier, and I think it was last stream we did. It was he had to prove himself. We had to see what the team was made of, the metal, all that, all the intangibles. So I'm glad we won. Um, Talking about the goals, I'm glad our 6'4" center backs finally got on the score sheet. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we used to always hype up our ability to score set pieces, but we don't score enough. So I'm glad that happened. From what I saw, we looked good. We didn't look. It's another game where we didn't look like we were threatened at our goal, other than a few happen chances, you know. But Simicas first game back in the lineup, 3 minutes in, he decides to press incorrectly, and we got beat. Another example of our weakness on the counter. So I think the last 2 games have shown us what our weaknesses can be. But I'm glad we won today. Glad Szoboszlai got on the sheet. My guy, we were talking about that. So I'm glad he got his first goal in the Champions League for us and his first goal of the season. But he didn't look great at all the times. He's having a lot of loose touches, and
that's what I
shout
was
out
just
to
about to bring up,
Yeah.
because he's had a couple games where he's looked a little bit rough on the ball.
yeah.
Now this is like the second one where he's looked a little bit tough on the ball, but continue.
A little bit tough, and we're going to the more defensively sound teams we play against, the more those touches are going to be exposed. So I do need him to cut those out. But I think everyone
The Italian team.
decent.
It's not. It's all the other. It's if you like play Inter, really. Like that's the kind of team that you'd struggle with.
But I'm thinking just going back to the league when we play City, Arsenal, you guys even. If we come up against a sound team defensively, he can't have those loose touches.
I just wonder against the big name DMs how he does. That's the real question for me. Is like you said, Rice, Rodri, even in my opinion, when he plays Lavia, like those are gonna be.
That reminds me. Okay, yeah. So you were talking about Jota earlier in the movement. So when Szoboszlai gets in those man marking matches against Forest, I need more out of the striker, and that's why Darwin has a place in this team, because if Jota does more movement wise, they can take advantage of that defensive mid not being in that space, right?
Right.
And then if Darwin's there, that makes it even more of a gap for the defensive mid to have to cover, because now the center backs are now worried about Darwin.
Yeah, but that's my reasoning behind using Gakpo in that sense. But because he's going to pick up the ball from deep and want to drive at those players and create havoc, really. Like that's what it really comes down to. It's like against those low blocks, you have to hit them in moments. Very quickly.
Exactly. But that's Chiesa.
Yep. Also Chiesa. Yeah,
Chiesa might end up playing games up top before Darwin does. I keep saying this.
Before Gakpo does or before Darwin does?
Before both of them. I think Chiesa is our third striker option. Not in depth chart, but like the third one. I think it's Jota, Nunez, and Chiesa. I don't think he likes Gakpo as a striker.
Okay. That's interesting.
Because if you think about it, if you really look at Jota and Chiesa, their movement is very similar. Very similar. Chiesa's just faster.
Yeah, I mean, Milan were just really bad on corners, man.
Milan were really bad. Just really, that was terrible defending. But those are, shout out to Arsenal winning against Tottenham. But that's what you need sometimes. You don't want to over-rely on it.
We used to be set piece FC back in the day.
Yeah, you did. Just a bunch of big motherfuckers waiting for a cross.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. That's how we gonna play. That's how we gonna play clubs later. Me at striker being hoofball striker, son.
Hoofball striker. I like it. I like it. Hey man, let me just change my guy around long ball pass. Maxed out. But good performances.
Maxed out height. Yeah. Oh no way. Magnon's hurt too.
Yeah, Magnon got injured. He stopped a goal from going in, and then he got injured again. Like he got injured mid game, was playing hurt, and then saved Jota's shot and like hurt himself even more because one of his players kicked him in the knee or something. But my midfield, the Gravenberch McAllister pivot, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
It's working.
There's people out in the mountains now wishing they were in that midfield. And, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You should have took the bag, bro. Why did you take the bag? Why? This is what happens when you listen to lies, bro. They hit you with the, oh, we're family. It's home. We wouldn't do you like that. And that's what happens. They said, nah, we ain't got it like that.
So butthurt, bro.
No, I'm not butthurt because if we get him, then we don't force Gravenberch into this position to let him shine. Like everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a
Nah,
reason.
Gravenberch has been cooking, son. And I've
He's-
rated Gravenberch for a long time. I just didn't think that he had this type of defensive now something about him.
The
He's doing
defensive
really well.
nous surprises me. Every time I see
Yeah.
him like dart in for an interception, it like
Mhm.
gets me giddy. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? You know? And so yeah, every game. But McAllister is our unsung hero. And I was watching the game today and I was like, McAllister's really the best. And he's obviously not. But like he's that unsung hero that doesn't get enough credit in this system because he keeps everything going. And I think the Nottingham Forest game was the perfect example because we all love on Trent. They put Trent in that midfield, it went to shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. It went right to garbage, bro.
yeah.
By the way, Alonga, that was a hell of a pass by Alonga to Joe.
It was. That's
It
the
was.
perfect pass. It took four
It was
people out of
such
the
a
play.
good pass. It literally got right through the back line, like all the way through it. It was crazy. It was a fantastic.
Oh yeah,
pass.
and we're talking about Bradley, bro. And it's just like we bring on Bradley, he's supposed to be better than Trent at defense, and then he got cooked over and over and over again. And it's like, bro, what are you doing?
Joe had him on toast, son.
I was
He
just-
had him on absolute toast.
You
bro.
know what that was? That's like Joe being like, yo, I don't give a damn about this hype. I've been in the Prem for 4 years. I've been cooking Liverpool for 4 years. I don't give a damn about this you. I'm about to work him. And he was like, I don't care about the
Yeah.
Bradley hype. It just went to work.
Who's this kid?
Yeah,
That's what he said. He said,
"Who is
"Who's this kid?"
I've been in
I
the
was
Prem
like-
since I was 18, bro. Get out my face.
That's what Sancho did to the guy on the left back, bro. He was just like,
Just
yeah.
hit it with the,
who's this guy, bro? He's like, who's this guy in front of me, bro? He can't guard me, bro.
Big up, Jake.
On some AI shit. Like, who's this guy guarding me right now? Anyways,
Yeah.
let's talk about the games that we have coming up this week. Y'all have Bournemouth.
Mhm.
Just
Sure.
some thoughts from Bournemouth on our side. I do think that's going to be another one of those tests that you guys have to low block tests that you guys are going to have to work on.
I don't.
They played us. They played
Mhm.
us differently because we don't have an exit ball, bro. Like that's just what it comes down to. We didn't have an exit ball, and everybody knows we don't have an exit ball. I've been saying that for the last freaking 8 months. We don't have a way to exit the ball out deep, but you guys do.
They're,
So
I'm telling you right now, they're not playing a low block with this lineup.
I won't be surprised.
They're gonna try to, but it's not gonna work. If they play a low block this game, they're gonna get killed. I'm sorry, I don't want to talk brash and get myself called out and clipped up, but if they play the lineup they play, was that the game they just lost to you? If they play a low block against us, they're gonna get carved up. I don't see Justin Kluivert, Lewis Cook, and Ryan Christie sitting back and playing defensively sound for 90 minutes. I just don't, and I don't think Senesi at 184 centimeters and Zabarni are physically imposing enough as far as from an aerial threat. I really don't see problems as far as defensively. On the other end, I am terrified at the thought of Semenyo and Kluivert running at my wingbacks because Kluivert drifts out wide. Kluivert's really good. I'm glad he's playing in the Prem now. So that's what I'm worried about. That attacking three behind Evan Nielsen could cause us problems on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, Evan Nielsen's just a man without confidence right now. So
Yeah, he's learned. Yeah, basically. But Semenyo is not. Neither is Kluivert. And
no, Semenyo like well against you guys too.
Yeah, exactly. So Semenyo versus Robertson or Simicas, whoever that is, I'm not looking forward to that matchup.
It'll be Robertson. Simicast started today.
Yeah, he did. Got an assist. Good for him. But yeah. So those are the areas I'm really concerned about. But that's why I'm saying if they're playing a low block and we don't have to worry about that pressure too much, I'm not too concerned, especially because we just had to deal with a low block against Forest. So I feel like we'll be more equipped to deal with those problems.
Okay, what are you saying is the scoreline?
Where is it? At Anfield, 3-1. I'm talking a
That's
lot.
what I was going to do. 3-1.
3-1. I am waiting for. I thought it was going to be today, but we're gonna put 5 or 6 past the team soon because there's going to be a game when the subs come off the bench actually firing.
Mm-hmm.
Like today could have been 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's what Mats was saying on his stream.
Yeah, today easily could have been 5 or 6. So I see a cricket score or a touchdown coming very soon.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to that. We got our 6 the other day against Wolves, so I
Yeah.
think we got another couple of those coming in. As well.
If I look
4 or
if I
5.
look at this fixture list, clearly you got a spicy game coming up.
Yeah, we got some games. We got some games coming up
Yeah.
after the international break. I think we have West Ham and then Brighton, and then it's the international break.
Yeah, you got West Ham on the 21st. Talk to me. What's going on with that? What you got to say about that, Joe?
I'm actually really excited for this game.
Mhm.
I want to see. I would like to see Nani get dropped though. If we
I'm
can
a
play,
Nani
I would
hater.
like to see. It's not that I hate on Nani. I just like to see him get dropped. Have Neto play on the right, and then have Sancho start. Even though I don't think Sancho's like fit enough to play a full 90, have him start and take him off after 60.
Yeah.
Like for me, like if as long as it's Palmer and it's probably going to be Jackson in this game. I would like to say Nkuku against Brighton personally. Like that's the game I would like to see Nkuku in.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll probably be Jackson. The back line will more than likely stay the same outside of the Sassi because Gusto's back in training. And then Lavia will probably enter the mix with Caicedo in the midfield. And then it'll be back to Cucurella, Colwell, Fofana as the 3 in the back,
Mhm.
with Gusto inverting into the midfield with Caicedo and Lavia is my guess.
It's probably till Reece James exists again. That's probably your best, back like 5-6 unit.
Yeah.
I really, as long as Lavia and Caicedo aren't playing consistently, I'm happy with Chelsea. Once they do that, I'm scared. There are players that should be starting consistently for this team that aren't right now, and so I'm kind of just happy they aren't. But yeah,
I think as soon as that all starts to click, it's going to be some real problems for some teams. We're going to really start putting some whooping on some teams, bro. Like,
yeah. I agree.
as soon as those two start to work together, like I think they can, you mix Enzo in with them as much as you need him to be. I just the problem with them two playing them two together is the fact that we don't have another 6 realistically that you can play in like the middle of the mid-season games, like against like the conference league games.
You don't
so
have
like
a third
one of the two will end up having to not play if we have a midweek game like that we'll actually need him for.
Mhm.
But not like there's something that impressed me with Enzo before I knew who he was, like before he came to Chelsea, was I was looking at Ricardo Pereira last year. Okay. And Ricardo Pereira is a player who has had a long list
Distinguished
of injuries.
queer. Oh, injuries. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has a long list of injuries. Ricardo Pereira played nearly 40 games last year, my guy. When's the last time we've seen that from that guy?
Yeah. Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's why I still have hope for Reece. That's why I think Lavia eventually will be a consistent player for us because of the way that he's already talking about managing some of these players.
Right.
Taking Cole out of the conference league, Lavia out of the Conference League. Like doing these types of things is telling me what these players' legs can manage. Right? Like you already know that. So I don't need to sit here and like argue about someone getting a muscle injury because I know that you can manage these guys better than most. I've seen it with a player that is historically injured and has historic muscle injuries. So like once Reece James starts going, I don't expect him to play every single game. Don't expect him to play every midweek, but he'll come in as a sub, start a game, come in as a sub, start a game because we have the depth to be able to do that. It's not like Malo Gusto is a trash player. In my opinion, he's top 5 right backs in this league, in my opinion. Like it's like we have what we need for these players, that we have the depth that we need for these players to stay healthy this year. And that's what it should be. It's like we don't have a system that's going to be putting a ton of pressure on these guys' legs. And I'm already liking the progression of the style of play that I've seen from the few games that I've seen it. Now, has it been perfect from the get? No. Like we haven't had like a one full 90 minutes yet that's been complete. You know what I'm saying? We just haven't had a complete 90 yet. And that's what I'm waiting for. But I think a team like West Ham is going to open up just enough for us to be able to thrive. You see what I'm saying?
You're right.
I do think that if they open up and watch the matchup of Alvarez versus Felix when Felix comes on, okay? I think that the mobility of Felix is going to give some real problems to Alvarez in the 6th if he comes on at that 60th minute or so. And Felix comes on. I do believe that is going to be a matchup that's going to give Alvarez a very big problem. Okay? And he did the last time he played him too. Okay? That's just for the last time Felix and Alvarez played each other. He gave him some big problems coming around the midfield because the technical ability of Felix and the quickness of Felix gives a player like Alvarez, who's not as mobile as you could be as a 6. And I really like Alvarez, by the way. He's one of my favorite 6s in this league right now. And I do think that that's a game that you guys have to watch out for because of Alvarez being able to defend Szoboszlai and be as athletic as Szoboszlai. But the quickness is the key thing. I think that Felix on the ball in the half spaces can cause some really, really, really big problems for Alvarez and that entire West Ham side. If it's a pivot of Guido Rodriguez and Alvarez, which I do expect it to be.
Yeah, I think so too.
I do expect it to be that pivot. Neither of those guys are mobile and are mobile enough and quick enough. I mean, let's not say mobile. Let's just say quick enough.
Yeah.
Pace with the guy the Felix. I think if Palmer, which I do believe Palmer starts, if Palmer turns it on, that team it's a 3-0. Like it's that simple. Like if Palmer turns it on, it's 3-0. Like early it will be. Now, what will cost us is Antonio and the mistakes against Antonio. That's the game. That's the game for West Ham. If Antonio can cause the mistakes, if it's gonna be Antonio, by the way, because who knows, they might go over to Fulkrug. But if Antonio can cause the mistakes that he normally does against us, he either causes mistakes or he does nothing. That's Antonio against us.
People forget he was a right back, bro. People forget that. Like, he's a hard worker. He runs the channels. He's gonna make the most logical play, but he's not gonna pull anything out of his ass. And if he does, it's probably bad defending on the other end. But
This is
I
a good
thought,
point. If it's Suchek, we destroy them.
if it's I can't stand Suchek at the 10. I think it's
Mike's
a waste
Mike's
of a player.
that's Mike's worst enemy, bro. Like if you watch my stream Thursday, I'm gonna be poking the bear a bit.
Yeah,
with Suchek.
Suchek in the 10 is actual football terrorism. But
yeah, we're gonna do like I'm gonna do like a potential like a Chelsea versus West Ham like
combined 11.
Yeah, combined 11 with them. And I'm gonna like poke at Suchek to try to like push him into positions for him, and he's gonna just be so bad.
Can I super chat Suchek into the 10?
Yeah.
But no, I think the matchup is Bowen and Kudus versus Cucurella and Gusto, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think I don't necessarily have confidence in Cucurella versus Bowen. I also don't rate Bowen.
Do.
But
I do, because I think that Cucurella is not going to be so far up the field where he's going to have to cover that space. And it's going to be Gusto that's going to be coming back and covering that space against
then
Kudus.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah, but Kudus is going to have cuts inside, bro, every time when he's on the left. Like he does not want to go. He does not want to go on his left, and he'll go on his left to shoot. Like that's another thing. That's another thing. Yeah, he'll go on his left to shoot, but to go on his left to create.
No, he doesn't drive down the left. Yeah,
and if you're gonna tell me that Lavia is still gonna be right there in that pit, sitting there with those two with the center backs, I'm fine. I'm fine, and I know that we might have to deal with if Kudus hits a cracker. Kudus hits a cracker. Like that's what it comes down. If that's what it comes down to, cool. But I believe in my team its ability to score. Like that's the one thing that
fair enough.
That's what my thing is. I believe in my team's ability to score. That's just the thing for me. Like I said, we'll do lineups for this. We'll do lineups for this West Ham game on Thursday because I want to keep some the juice for Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Keep some of the juice for Thursday. But yeah, we're gonna do Mike's Thursday around the same time. We're gonna be doing West Ham versus Chelsea preview. And we're gonna put the lineups up like against each other, what he thinks his lineup's gonna be, what I think my lineup's gonna be, and we'll do a combined 11. And then we'll talk on the game. That's the plan for Thursday, people. So and by the way, that preview might turn into a weekly show. So a weekly Thursday show with Mike's with West Ham. So we're gonna start more of a schedule of shows that we do rather than the random streams that was doing before. I'm gonna try to get something a little bit more scheduled and nailed on. So we can just like have something that people can know that's gonna be coming around every Tuesday, every Thursday. I'm gonna try to find like an Arsenal or Man U fan. I'm thinking of Dio because he's just like me and him can argue forever.
I would love to get on a stream with Dio.
Yeah, that's the thing is like if I get Dio, then I'm gonna have it where it's like all of us eventually do like a stream all together for one day. But I just got to reach out to the guy. He's a nice guy though. I've talked to him many of times. He's just a quirky dude. This is the best way of describing it.
Yeah, no, and all's fair. When all's fair, in football talk for the most part.
Of course.
Personal, so. But
and that's the thing with me and him is like we've come to like an understanding of who each other are, so we can have decent enough conversations where it doesn't feel like it's just us yelling at each other.
Shouting, verbally attacking.
So it's like, and we can argue without having to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? Me and him. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think I would like that one because I like someone I can argue with. To be honest, like I think that would be really cool because I don't really argue with you because I don't hate your team the way I hate Arsenal or I hate Man U. Like if I got a Man U fan, I would just go at their heads the entire time. Oh, it's like I would literally be the grill is on, bro. Like that's how I feel about me. The grill is absolutely on, bro. And I'm ready to cook any Man U fan. That's why when at the end of the Saeed stream, Saeed stream when what's his face? The guy that he was on with the other African brother that he was with on the stream. I forget what his name is.
What team does he support? Why can't I think of it?
Man U. He was just on, like, he was just doing a watch along with him.
Oh,
Nuruddin. Yeah, Nuruddin.
God,
when Nuruddin was like, come to my stream and Chelsea fans, I want to smoke. I was like, smoke? I'm ready to smoke.
Suiting up.
I'm ready for the smoke always.
Always.
Like, I'm always ready for the smoke.
Just
like, you want to talk football? I'm ready about it. Like, we want to talk football. We don't want to talk about each other's personal lives. We want to talk about football. I'm ready for the smoke any day of the week. So, like, that's the whole thing. We'll be doing some shows here soon. I got it. Zig's ready to, as you can see, Zig's ready for his walk. Like he's been waiting for his walk all day. So we gotta go take him out. And I appreciate everybody coming through to the show. Make sure you like and subscribe to the show.
Please like and subscribe
again,
the damn
Once
show.
again, we'll be doing this weekly. I'm going back to the weekly routines, okay? So like we're gonna get doing this weekly. I'm back to my mental self and being able to do this on a daily basis if I needed to. But we're going to slowly increase the amount of streams that we're doing, and we're going to get some more people. We're going to get some more people. I'm trying to get some people that you guys don't see as often, like in the other people's streams and like Ahmed streams, and like I'm trying to get in Staffy streams because like Staffy is like, we're all me and Link are close with Staffy. And Ahmed. We're already close with them. So we want to give you guys some different people, you know?
Yeah.
And so maybe Dio. We're definitely bringing Mike's on because Mike's has been, you know, one of my boys since the beginning. So we're definitely going to be doing Mike's. And we'll find a couple other guys that probably are in the US and give you something different. That's the big thing. I got a Newcastle fan too that we're gonna use for later if he's up for it.
Oh, that one Newcastle fan?
I don't know if you know who he is. His name is Chris.
No, I don't know Chris.
Yeah. So we might do Steve too, because Steve's always a good, reliable guy. So I appreciate everybody. Thanks for joining in. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. I think I'm like one away from 550 if I'm already not at 550.
You're at 548. Yo, come on, people. We need two.
We could do that. We could give me two subs today. We could definitely give me 2 subs.
Come on.
Now, I appreciate everyone. Hope you guys have a great night.
Much love. Make good choices.